for a little bit of a family chat, a bit of an update on some of the things that have been going on for us as a church. I know it's a little harder to stay connected at this time, but specifically want to talk a little bit about this beautiful building that's behind us right now and our plan to regather soon. So if you received our email that went out this week, you would know that we tentatively put out June 28th, that's next week, yikes, next week, as our plan to potentially begin to regather and do live church services in our new building with people attending. For a number of reasons, that's looking less and less likely at the moment. The main factor in that, the main factor is that our building isn't quite ready yet. We're also keeping a close eye on how things are unfolding and what regulations are in place by the government as churches begin to reopen. We want to make sure we do that really well and in the best time that we can. So when we mentioned June 28th as our potential opening, couple of things. I would say this: we were banking on having 4 really solid work nights, 2 this past week and 2 this following week to get this building in shape and ready to go. So this past week we had 2 work nights, Wednesday and Thursday. But one of our work nights, Wednesday, Chris was by himself at the church working away. The second work night, which was Thursday, was Chris and myself and Amelia, my wife, and Greg. There was just 4 of us. So unless we have some major volunteering going on in the next couple of weeks, we're not going to be able to open this place up soon. So listen, we know it's been a long haul on the building. We know that lots of people have given lots of time and energy and resources. There's been people even coming down during the week and during the day, and we're super thankful for that. Like, praise God for that. Honestly, we are. But we do need one last big push over the next couple of weeks to at least get us started in this place. It won't be finished, but it'll be to a point that we can actually get in and start worshiping together and doing church, and we're still figuring out exactly what that's going to look like. Yeah. So please be gracious with us as we figure this out, as we want to just do this well. And all of us, believe me, Chris and I think we're extroverts. Like, we want to see people. We don't want to talk and preach and worship to a camera. We want to have people in our building and do this well. So that's where our heart is at. So Chris, in a few minutes here before we worship this morning, why don't you give us a little bit of an update? Let's get an idea of what are some of the main things that still need to get finished in our building before we can open.
Sure. So there's actually quite a bit that needs to be finished in the building, but to just get open, we'll put a few of those things aside so that we can start church. And with some of the government regulations and things that are in place, we won't be able to use part of our facility anyways, as far as Harvest Kids and that stuff goes. So we're kind of putting a few of those things on hold. For instance, our nursery won't be used for a little bit, so we're not working hard on the nursery right now or anything like that. But just to get into the building right now, we're really just trying to clean up everything that we moved over from the mall. And we got a good chunk of that done last week, but there's still a bunch of moving to do. There's still a bunch of just like little cleaning things to do. But most importantly, we're trying to run some cables, right? What you've been seeing so far is, if you have visited the church in the last 6 to 8 weeks, you would have walked in and seen a whole pile of cables on the floor and lights and cameras. And well, that's not exactly what we want you to come into. when we open the building up to many people, you would trip and fall and people would get hurt. And so we have to clean all of that up, essentially running some cabling for audio and video, so that we can hear the message, hear the worship and everything else from the stage, and then have the whole floor cleared out so that we can do socially distanced gatherings of chairs and everything else. And so we just don't want anything basically in the building. And so moving all of that around, getting people to help me crawl under the stage and move wires and test things from back of the stage to the sound booth and everything else, it's hard to do with just one person. So we just really need some help in that. There's a few things that will not be working potentially right away, and that one of them will be our universal washroom, which is going to be the biggest washroom.
Right.
We're really excited to get that up and running, but we just need some more volunteers. We were able to clear that room out this past week, but we need to now put some insulation in, start drywalling it, cut the floor open a little bit more, get the plumbing run. And I say all of that like we can do it this week, but we can't, because we don't have the funds to buy a toilet, to buy a sink, and everything else. We'll talk about that in just a second. But so that's something that we really are passionate about getting done, so that if someone does show up to our building that maybe he's in a wheelchair or a walker or something like that, if you haven't been here before, the washrooms that are pre-existing are very, very small, and so it'd be very difficult for anyone with that kind of thing to actually use a washroom. So we're excited to get in, but at the same time we're kind of being held back a little bit with a few things, and we want to make sure that we do it right, and we want to make sure that we can accommodate all those that walk through our door, however that might look like. And so we just really need some more help in that. And it's just I could list 100 things that need to be done. There's some painting, some other things, but again, these are things that necessarily don't have to be done before we move in, but wouldn't be a bad idea to get done. There's still all the tiling at the front entranceway that needs to be done. Tiling on the stage, which I believe is going to get done this Tuesday. Thank the Lord. So it's just there's a bunch of things.
Cool. Okay. So if I'm listening this morning, if I'm in my pajamas on my couch, probably, no judgment. How do we help? When can we help? Do I need to be like a mad skilled contractor and stonemason, or are there things that like, hey, I could sweep, I could clean? Like, how and when can we help?
Yeah. Anyone can help. That is for sure. I will find something for you to help with, whether, like I said, if it's crawling under the stage, getting dirty, or moving things up and down stairs, or whatever it might be. It all still has to be done. But if you are a contractor, and I know I'm a contractor and I work 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, or whatever might that look like, we could still use your help. If you can sacrifice one evening or an early morning or whatever it might look like this coming week or these coming weeks, whether you're an electrician, plumber, carpenter, whatever it might look like, we could use some skilled trades for sure. That would be a huge, huge, huge blessing again. And we've had a few great people come in and get a few things done, but every 2 hours it's been helping, but we need like a good solid couple things done. So we still have a couple exposed outlets that we need switches changed and stuff like that. So there's some fairly contractor like style things that really just need to get done so that the building is safe for when we get here. But saying that, everyone can come, can help. We're going to be starting to do dusting and cleaning and vacuuming and washing and all that kind of stuff. So just making sure that our building is ready, disinfected for when we do open.
Great. Awesome. Okay. Last thing, quickly, before we get into worship that you're leading us in this morning, how do we give? All of this takes money and resources, and again, thank you for many of you who have done that and continue to do that. If you're watching, joining in, it's like, how do we give? What's the financial situation? Like, how do they do that today or this coming week?
Yeah, so praise God. Thank you for your continued giving in the general fund and even some into the building fund as well. But right before the pandemic started, we created, and we had a family chat about this, a Perry Sound Building Fund. And so if you go to myharvestchurch.ca/give and then follow through to giving online, there's a drop down that says Perry Sound Building Fund, and that is where you can give to this project, which would be a huge blessing. Like I said, we still need to buy some much needed equipment so that we can open properly and safely. And an unknown expense that we were not aware of was all that you're seeing right now and that you've been seeing in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Was our live stream. And so we had to make some additional purchases, which we were planning to do in years to come.
Long term.
But it kind of fast forwarded. And so a bunch of funds went into purchasing some camera gear, some video gear. And so we've had to use that, and we're still going to continue to do that. As we said, we're going to continue to do our live stream moving forward for those that can't make it out. And it'll be a great thing if you end up being sick even a year from now and I don't want to miss church. Well, you don't have to miss the church anymore. So we have put a lot of funds into that, and funds have been coming in, but we're kind of running all pretty close to dry on our building fund. And remember, we started at $0, and we think we've been donated about $30,000, which is incredible.
Yeah, praise God.
And what we've been able to do with $30,000 is even more incredible.
Yes.
And so if you think about what the building used to look like and what we've done from now and how much we have not spent, it's pretty pretty amazing. So, and that has to do with a lot of your volunteer work. And like Godfrey said, we know that this project has been going on for a long time. I think we were talking about it. I think we started about a year ago.
Yeah.
And with volunteers, and everyone was excited. I know, and I believe you still are very excited to get into this building. But it has, as far as giving and slowing and the work and everything, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. And so we just need to pick that up again. We're really excited to get in here, and that's where you can give. That's where you can give online. Just go to myharvestchurch.ca/give and just follow the instructions there. And we'd love to increase that budget. And also look out this week. We'll have a website coming out with some more details about the different things that we need to purchase over the coming months/year. I know that we even had someone in on Saturday for a quote for air conditioning. If you've been here when it's hot, it's very hot.
It's hot.
And so we're looking at all those kind of things. And so we want to make sure that, again, we're trying to use the Lord's money the best that we can, giving us wisdom and everything that we're doing. So go church. Let's do this.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity of kind of what's going on, where we're at. We don't often take time on a Sunday morning to talk about these things, but thought it was important and good to do that. There'll be an email coming out this week as well, and we'll relay some of the details that we talked about today, that website, and ways that you can give and how you can help out with that. So let me pray, and then Chris, you're going to lead us into